So I finally got the chance to watch Cho Kaguya-hime, the Netflix whatever movie, about the retelling of the Princess Kaguya fairy tale. And one of the shots, I noticed the clavicle shadow right here. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I like me some clavicles. I like me some drawing some shoulders. So let's talk about drawing shoulders, the construction and the anatomy. So just the areas around it. So this is a old character design by me that I did like 2 years ago. So it's a bit of a, long time ago. And the shoulders could use some work seeing it now, but this is going to be like the main idea of the shoulder line and of the clavicle. Let's go with a box first, just so we get like a good starting point. So we have your box in this kind of perspective. We have the sphere for the rib cage, like this. I'm trying to draw light right now, but I'll go darker soon. The clavicles are like a cylinder bike handlebar right here. They curve back and they attach like this, right? That's the anatomy of the clavicle. Here's the neck, it's going up, but it's not just the clavicle. There's going to be a few other areas to focus on. So we have this neck right here. And the big thing that I want to focus on is the trapezius muscles, the traps, as well as the deltoids that come down. And how do they all connect? So we have this neck over here. I think a lot of people, one of the first muscles that they kind of learn is the sternocleidomastoid. The sternocleidomastoideus, the two muscles that come down from the bottom of the ear over. So like this would be the head, right? But over here, you'll have the trapezius. They're a form that kind of drops down like this, right? If we have it from a different angle, neck, trapezius, kind of wrapping around. This is focusing on the front view, right? Because the back view, the trapezius is way bigger. But this would be the traps, like this. And this would be the shoulder, right here. So then here, let's put in a little sphere for the shoulder to place it. And then we can put the arm down, like this, maybe. Let's keep it in perspective, or try to. So we have the clavicle, that's like this bicycle handle. We have this trapezius, that's like a tube from the front view, like this. That's this sort of form, if you're looking at it from the front view. And then we have the deltoid. So something that people don't understand about the deltoid that I see sometimes is that they kind of draw it where it's like coming up like this, where it's starting from up here. The way I like to do them is to have them actually start underneath where the clavicle is, because the clavicle ends at this point called the acromion process. I forgot how to spell it. And then you will sort of draw the deltoids coming down from this spot. So then you'll have 3 heads of the deltoid, one from the middle going down like this, one from the front, and then one in the back. And then you'll kind of have this kind of teardrop shape like this. And then, just because it's kind of relevant, the pectoralis major attaches actually to the arm, to the humerus bone. So you would probably have a little bit of muscle going down like this. So it's like wrapping down, and this would be like a little cavity right here. So this is the kind of the construction of everything, right? As a big overview. So now let's go through. We're going to be talking about the simplification and the screenshots that I have. So over here, we have this top angle view. Let's break it down, all of this anatomy. Let's break it down, Mark. Let me break it down for you, Mark. So we have this angle here. I like drawing, it's kind of like the sphere of the rib cage, just to kind of place everything. I'm not going to be drawing the head, but I'll draw the neck somewhere like right here. It's a cylinder dropping down like this. And then we're going to have, I like having my window open when I'm recording and drawing, because it's hot. So you're going to hear cars and stuff. But anyway, we see a line. We see a line right here. This would be the clavicle line, simplified. And then we see this little shadow right here. This is to indicate the little pocket where the trapezius muscle will meet the clavicle and kind of create this little crease. And then we also see this little bulge right here too. And that's to highlight the trapezius muscle. So that's what I'm looking at. And let's kind of put it all together. So we have this bulge of the trapezius. So we'll put that in, and then it kind of reaches down like this. Boom, boom. Right, draw your contour line so that you see the 3D form of everything. Neck. We know that the clavicle is somewhere around here, and then it's gonna curve up like this, and then it'll kind of attach right here like that. Same thing with the other side, except it's perspective, so it's like really hidden and foreshortened. So then it'll be like this. And then we have the shoulder here. It's really big because it's right in front of the camera. So we'll put the sphere down like this, trying to capture a little bit of the proportion. The shadow here is going to indicate where the crease of the arm is. So I'm going to use that as like a frame of reference for proportions. So it'll be like this. And then we have the deltoids wrapping around. So deltoid, we have the first head coming down from here. Boom. We have the second head, third head, all of that. And then we have the pectoralis major tucking in underneath like this. So that's that. A little bit of shoulder on the other side. Boom. So let's talk about this little pocket shadow right here. This is to showcase that if there's light coming from this direction, this is where the terminator line could be. And then all of this would be in shadow, right? What this is kind of showing is almost like a little ambient occlusion to give the form, where it's just like this little tiny pocket where a line might be too harsh, but a shadow, just a little shadow, can help illustrate the form a little bit better. So now let's focus more on clavicles. You have to remember that clavicles are forms, right? You can feel them yourself. They're not just lines. They have a thickness to them and they have a shape. They're like this, right? Bicycle handles. And whatever has shape, there is shadow. So the way that the clavicle sits is that you have your rib cage like this. I'm trying to draw dark, which I'm not used to. I'm used to drawing really light. I'm trying to draw dark for the camera. So we have this rib cage over here, right? We have the sternum and all of that fun stuff. We have the shoulder. The clavicle is a 3D form. Always remember, it's a 3D form that sits on top of the rib cage like that, right? And then it curves back like this because the shoulders don't sit super forward. The shoulders sit, if not a little bit back. So what does that mean? It means that if there's light shining somewhere, the clavicles will have a shadow or a little crease, because the way that this form is, if we look at it from the side view, this is the clavicle from the side view and it's like wrapping around like this, right? The form is going down and then going down like this. So there's this little tiny bit of a bend right here, and you want to keep that in mind. And that's what's informing these little these shadow shapes right here. So if there's light coming down from the top, then this area here would catch some shadow, maybe even a little bit of cast shadow, right? Depending on how you want it to be done. But also remember that it's not like a full ledge balcony where it's like, you know, protruding that much. I'd say it's really subtle. Keep it, especially depending on how like skinny you are. You want to sort of keep it tame and subtle so that it gives off an impression of form rather than full-on over-rendering, if you know what I mean. So that's what we see right here. So let's just look at it from the front view this time. If we're drawing the head, I hate drawing front views because I'm not good at it. Neck, give some distance on the neck for some of a more elegant feel. Going down, rib cage, dropping like this, shoulder balls, right? Keep in mind how I'm using the steps. There's like a process to it. I'm not just kind of going right in with line. You could, right? And sometimes I do practice that, but when you're learning, don't. Because when you're learning, you need to have a strong process of doing things. So let's look at this. Deltoids dropping down. They're very subtle because she's not a bodybuilder. You have sternocleidomastoid that's not being illustrated, but I'll put them in just so that I can find the clavicle. The clavicle is around, it's a little low, so I'll put it right here. And then we can slide it up, over, slide it up, over. A chromium process right here. And then there's that little shadow right here, right? Because remember, clavicles are 3-dimensional forms. They exist in 3D space. So there's this little form like this where they're wrapping around, right? Your contour lines for the trapezius as well. You have your pecs like this. Keep in mind too that women have pectoralis muscles as well, and the breast sits on top of the pectoralis major muscle. So it's also good to have that drawn to sort of showcase a little bit. And then we have the ball already set up, so we can just do the deltoid shape. It's like this. There's the front deltoid, the side deltoid, and the back deltoid. So that's like the idea. Now, I'm drawing it very muscular because I'm showcasing the anatomy, not, you know, designing the appeal. So this would be the deltoid muscle. So that's everything that kind of exists in this area. The deltoid muscle is underneath the clavicle. I'm going to illustrate that even stronger because I feel like that's a strong point. And I think I'll use the last drawing here to really showcase that. So the main thing that I want to illustrate and convey across this video is that the deltoid, so let's first set this all up, right? We have neck, trapezius, clavicle. The deltoid is drawn underneath. So you can think of it like the edge of a box. This part here is forming this plane of the square plane of a box. And then the deltoid comes down from all three sides like this. So then you can kind of imagine the deltoid being flat here like that. But of course it's not going to be flat in reality because then you have the trapezius muscle adding on top of it, right? But the deltoid itself, just think of it as they all come down from this. When I figured this out and when I was, learning this is what helped me improve my deltoids a lot more. Let's look at it from this angle. We have a neck coming down this way. We have deltoids coming in this way. Now I'm gonna kind of use my own way of figuring out the proportions and the angles, so give me a second and then I'll explain. Right, the clavicles can help you. Like I'm basically looking at this is the angle of the clavicle, trying to capture that. Now I was a little bit flat, so I'll try to angle it up more. This angle is like this. This angle is like this. We have deltoids are pretty flat over like that, or not the deltoid, the traps, right? And so let's construct it and simplify it as a hard angle. Now when I draw the deltoid from here, the sphere is to help me find the placement. The arm is going back in space, and then it's gonna come back out like this, right? And it's gonna be like a fist right here. The way these deltoids are gonna work is that we have the back deltoid, the side deltoid, and the front deltoid. None of them are gonna be starting above this angle right here, right? This spot here is reserved for the trapezius, and this is the clavicle. Boom, boom, side, front, like this. Now right here, what this line is, this is the pectoralis major, because the pectoralis major attaches to the arm. And here we have a little bit of latissimus dorsi, like that. And then we can have this form going out like this, boom, boom, like that, going into the arm. But yes, and we can kind of like this is showcasing it for the shadows, right? The shadows are illustrating the form. Because there's a shadow right here. Well, let's first go from the top. There's a shadow right here for the trapezius. So it's going around like this, right? It's following the form. Light is coming down from this direction. So here is the curving of the form. All of this in shadow. Right here, there's a light source from here. All of this is illuminated. And because that this area here is flat, there's a little bit of shadow wrapping around like this. So it all makes sense. These planes are facing the light, and this plane is not facing the light. So that's why there's a shadow there. And then here, I would probably erase this shadow and not connect it, because remember, the clavicles are 3D forms as well. They have 3 dimensions. So this is why that there's light right here. And then that's about it. To recap, follow the process, right? We have the rib cage. We have placed the neck. From the neck over, you can draw your clavicles to try to find the general proportions of everything. And then you can start building in anatomy. And by doing so, you first start with the tricep. You'll solidify the clavicle so that they meet up at the spot. You'll find this little plane right here, this corner box. And then from this corner box, you can drop the trapezius muscle like this. And that's about it. That's all there is to shoulders. And then you do the same thing on the other side. It's symmetrical.